At a time when NASA is still withholding critical information and high-resolution photos about 3I Atlas, with theories and speculation reaching all over the place, a new document circulating online is making huge waves. According to a report from Dr. Lacia Varon, a signal analyst with a dual-spectrum telescope in Chile, and an anonymous doctor who is a lead observer operating a 16-inch optical telescope in India, 3I Atlas just transmitted the Fibonacci sequence, not once, but in a repeated coordination pattern. 8, 13, 8, 5, 13, 8. This is the same mathematical sequence found in DNA, hurricanes, and spiral galaxies. Two observations separated by over 15,000 kilometers detected these pulses simultaneously, ruling out atmospheric interference or equipment malfunction. The pulses were stable, unaffected by the object's rotation, suggesting active control, and the spectral signature appears near 1420 MHz, the hydrogen line, the universal frequency theorized for interstellar signaling. As always, I'm here to report the information without bias, and you can decide what to believe. You can find the sources in my detailed articles at ufonews.co, along with in the description box below. Hey ufologists, I'm Cristina Gomez and welcome to this episode of UFO News Updates. This all happened on October 13th, 2025, exactly 108 years after 100,000 people witnessed the sun dance in the sky at Fatima, Portugal. NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory went dark that same day. The Mars camera has been offline since October 1st, and now 3I Atlas is behind the sun where we can't see it, bathed in more energy than a third of all of the US's nuclear plants combined. The data we need exists. We're just not being allowed to see it. Ross Coulthard from News Nation has been investigating why critical observation systems keep going offline at critical moments, and he shared what he knows about feed disruption.
Can you ask Ross what his thoughts are on NASA cutting the live feed from Mars when 3I Atlas went past? Everything was going well. Then they turned into a gray screen. What are they hiding?
You know, it's funny. I never believed any of the NASA conspiracy theories until very, very recently. I always thought it was nonsense that NASA cut the feed. And I now realize someone is cutting the feed because I've seen it. I've actually seen it happen. I can't comment one way or the other about the 3I Atlas feed being cut because, frankly, I just don't know if it was. I assume that there was a disruption. And look, disruptions do happen to transmissions. Obviously, it's a big thing to be able to receive or send a transmission across space. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if occasionally there are disruptions. But I'll tell you my story, which I have told before, but I was invited to tour as a VIP the Marshall Space Center when I was giving a speech at the Huntsville Scientific Coalition for the Study of UAPs 2 years ago. And it was a great opportunity, and I remain very grateful to the local director of NASA on location who very kindly ushered me around with the wife of another former NASA administrator, Mike Griffin. And while we were on location in the viewing room where there's a huge bank of video feeds from the space station, the International Space Station, we were looking at the feeds with the director of the Marshall Space Center talking to me with his back to those screens. And there's the control room for the receiving of signals and control of the space station to my right that we're looking at through this glass window. And as he's talking to me, Rebecca nudges me and goes, "Look." And there are maybe 8 or 9 egg-shaped objects moving from behind the space station, and the camera is pointed out into interstellar space. And you see these egg-shaped objects just tracking along in formation very, very slowly. And I very naively asked the director of the Marshall Space Center, "Excuse me, sir, are they Starlink satellites? Has somebody just released Starlink satellites?" And he turns, looks at the feed, sees the objects, and then he looks through the window into the main control room and they flick a switch and they do it right in front of us. transmission to the space station has been interrupted.
Let's talk about why the Fibonacci sequence matters. This is not numerology. This is fundamental mathematics. The sequence goes like this: 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34. According to researcher David Serrata's analysis documented on Medium, on October 13th, 3i Atlas transmitted the numbers 5, 8, and 13 as light pulses. In his hyperdimensional solar system model, these numbers have specific meanings. 5 coordinates to Earth's position in orbital harmonics. 8 relates to a theoretical orbital position between Mars and the asteroid belt. And 13 represents an outer orbital zone. If an intelligence wanted to communicate using a language any scientifically advanced species would recognize, fundamental mathematical constants would be the obvious choice. The Fibonacci sequence is not arbitrary. It is a property of nature itself. Now stay with me here because we have packed critical information and why Dr. Avi Loeb thinks 3i Atlas might be preparing a maneuver right now while hiding from view. And what comes next will show you why the data gap matters more than the claims themselves.
So at this point, there's worldwide interest in this thing, and NASA still hasn't released the photos. How is that possible?
Well, either NASA is not functional or there is a reason for that. And it's really unfortunate because that should have been the sharpest image we've got of this object with a pixel resolution of 30 kilometers. It was taken on October 2nd, 2025. And here we are, haven't seen it yet. The best picture we have so far is from the Hubble Space Telescope, 3 times worse in resolution. And what we noticed from the Hubble Space Telescope is there is a glow extending from the object towards the sun. This was confirmed in an image that was released just yesterday from a ground-based telescope. And it's very puzzling because this extension of the object towards the sun is 10 times longer than it is wide.
Now let us address the elephant in the room. The HiRISE, the high-resolution imaging science experiment camera on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, has been offline since October 1st, 2025, and this is documented on the University of Arizona's HiRISE operation page. HiRISE is capable of resolving objects down to 30 kilometers per pixel at the 3i Atlas's distance during the Mars flyby on October 3rd. That level of detail would reveal surface features, structural anomalies, or composition details that lower resolution instruments cannot detect. The official explanation states that one of the camera's electronic units, specifically the CCD Red 4, has been failing since August of 2023. Well, this is verifiable. But here is the timeline that raises questions. On October 1st, the same day HiRISE went completely offline, the U.S. government entered a shutdown that furloughed over 15,000 NASA employees. Just 2 days later, on October 3rd, 3i Atlas made its closest approach to Mars at 29 million kilometers, the prime observation window. Then on October 13th, the same day of the alleged Fibonacci pulses, NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory went offline for what officials called routine maintenance.
It's not like nobody is working at NASA because the government has been shut down for the past couple of weeks. So I'm sorry, I don't buy it. Do you think it's suspicious that NASA hasn't made an effort to put these photos out there?
It's strange because the principal investigator of this camera called HiRISE on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is not affiliated with NASA. He is at the University of Arizona, and obviously they can still analyze the data and release it scientifically. There is no need for a press release. The European Space Agency already released their data, which was much worse quality. Because, that's the way things are in science. You make the data available to other scientists so they can look into it.
Okay, so ESA, what you're saying, ESA, the European Space Agency, they released the images that we're now showing you, but NASA has not, and NASA's got their hands on the best imagery of whatever this thing is. So, Dr. Loeb, you get the conspiracy theory that's now developing. If this thing is a comet, maybe NASA, or if this thing is an alien spacecraft, maybe NASA is deliberately covering that up by not releasing those photos. You see that, right?
Dr. Avi Loeb believes the timing is significant. On October 21st, 8 days before perihelion, the object will disappear behind the sun entirely, creating what Loeb calls the perfect setup for an Oberth maneuver, a spacecraft technique that uses a propulsion burn near a massive body for maximum acceleration benefits. Here is why this matters. At perihelion, 3I Atlas is exposed to more than 33 gigawatts of solar energy, nearly 1/3 of all of the US's nuclear power output combined. If the object can harness energy, this is the moment. The Oberth effect means maximum benefit when moving fastest. A deceleration burn at perihelion would allow the object to drop from an escape trajectory into solar orbit with minimal fuel. And critically, this would be completely hidden from Earth's view. By this time, 3I Atlas emerges in early December, and any course change would already be done. And Loeb stated clearly that if the object behaves purely according to gravity, it confirms natural origin. But any unexplained acceleration would signal something far more profound. Here's what we know for certain. An interstellar object with documented anomalies is hidden behind the sun, bathed in 33 gigawatts of solar radiation, while our critical imaging systems went offline at the exact moment we needed them most. And we will not get JUICE spacecraft data until February of 2026. We can't verify the Fibonacci transmissions without the missing data. We will not know if it is performing an Oberth maneuver until December. Congress should be demanding the high-rise images, asking why the Solar Dynamics Observatory went dark on October 13th, and questioning why we must wait months for data that should already exist. In December, when 3I Atlas emerges, amateur astronomers worldwide will be watching. Any deviation from predicted trajectory will be documented immediately. We will either have answers or undeniable proof that critical information is being withheld. I'm Cristina Gomez, and that is it for today. I will see you again tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST for another UFO news update. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the notification bell as I do daily UFO news and updates. Fresh UAP stories, government disclosures, and breaking developments land here every single day.